that better this week, Bob? Bob, were you here last week or no?
Yeah, I was.
Was that a good enough?
Was
that a good enough?
Hearing's off.
Welcome to the July 17th meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I am President Tim Lilowitz. Thank you to all of our Rotarians and guests for being here today. We had our first board meeting of the year yesterday. It went very well. We got a budget passed, and we'll be talking about that more in the future. The leadership group we have is really good. I'm excited about this year and the good things for the club. You know, one thing, thank you, Kitty. Sorry, am I not? There we go. One thing we always talk about when the leadership gets together is the good aspects of our club, and we always talk about the great speakers we have on a weekly basis. It's something that we pride ourselves in. You know, we've had Ambassador Crocker earlier this year, the Police and Firefighter Awards, and this week, ladies and gentlemen, is not one of those great speakers. Our own Greg Edwards is here to present to us today, and despite that, there's almost 80 of you in the room, so round of applause for Trina, that's not a dig at you. It was just great. Thank you to Marnie Hockenberg. Marnie, where are you at? Thank you, Marnie, for being our greeter today. As a reminder, you all can sign up at the table outside or online. Great way to network at the meeting. Our other weekly volunteer position, the Moment of Inspiration. We have Susan Voss today to give our Moment of Inspiration, so she will lead us in that. The Pledge of Allegiance and the four-way test, and then we will greet our fellow Rotarians. Susan.
Thank you. In honor of our speakers today, Rotary members Greg Edwards and Trina Flack, I thought I would share a few quotes about hospitality. Hospitality is making guests feel at home, even if you wish they were. Convention planning, it's like herding cats, but the cats also have projectors and catering requests. Ben Franklin said, fish and visitors stink in 3 days. An event is not over until everyone is tired of talking about it. Santa is the perfect guest. Comes once a year, at night, while you're asleep, leaves gifts, and leaves. But seriously, and clearly a quote that really reflects upon Greg's service to the Greater Des Moines Convention and Visitors Bureau. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. And I'm sure Greg has done just that. Now if you will stand and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance in the four-way test. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Now greet. Greet.
About 5 minutes.
Where are you from?
I'll cross him off. How are you? I doubt it very much. All right, everyone returning to their seats. We have a number of guests today, so I will announce them and guests. Please stand when I call your name and remain standing, as we have 7 or 8 that we can recognize you as a group. So first, I have a guest, Dan Evans, who I will call a baseball authority, the former COO of Field of Dreams and former general manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, now an Ankeny resident. Go ahead and stand. Carl Voss, member of the Des Moines City Council and spouse of our own Susan Voss. Hold your applause, Greg. Erna Moraine, past Rotary District Governor and spouse of Steve Moraine. David Fast, Director of Sales at Prairie Meadows and guest of Matt Kiernan. Ahmad Shafay, Ahmad, I hope I said that correctly. Twin Cedars Bank, guest of Kashan Merchant. And then Matt Busick has 4 guests today. His daughter Elena is here with us. And then his friends from Denmark. And instead of pronouncing their last name, I agreed with them, I just say their first name. So it's Alan, Heidi, and Sophie from all the way here from Denmark. Alan was an inbound Rotary Youth Exchange student when Matt was training to go outbound to Denmark. So thank you for coming all the way from Denmark. Appreciate it. Thank you all again. We do have one very important Rotary birthday today. Our own David Oman. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday.
Kitty's was yesterday, wasn't it?
No, it was
The
last
11th,
last Friday.
but
It was last Friday.
Yeah,
But thanks
thank
for
you.
trying, Greg. I appreciate
It could be yesterday.
it. David, 39. Is that what you turned today? Is that, okay, got it. Now it's Where in the World is Club 27 for our guests. This club, the Rotary Club of Des Moines, is the 27th Rotary Club that was founded in the world of over 36,000 clubs. So, reminder, you can take us anywhere when you go and travel. And if you're going somewhere exciting, fun, or even boring, take us with you. First we have in the upper left there, Todd Wheeler. Todd and his wife Joyce were in Canada. I think it was Calgary, right? Calgary for the Rotary International Convention back in June. We have Bob Vedrell showing off his hiking skills there in Colorado. Thanks for the picture, Bob. And then finally, we had a shortened golf outing last Friday of about 8 to 9 holes before it started downpouring. But thanks to those who showed out at Blank Golf Course, and thanks to Melissa for taking pictures for us when we were out there. That was our golf fellowship. So now it's time for your new favorite segment. Kitty, do you have the music, or do I need to get my phone?
I'm trying, Jordan.
I need to grab my thing anyway. Hold on, go ahead. There we go. We'll get the kinks worked out so that it times better as we get going on this.
Okay, there's stop.
So for Kitty, thank you for the.
I
think it's like a 3-minute song.
It's a really long song.
For those of you that weren't here last week, this is my new segment this year, attempt to make fun of myself and other attorneys in the justice system. I'm going to highlight each week either some funny lawsuits or funny videos or pictures of certain attorneys and things that happen in the world, the legal world. So this week we are Dateline Chicago, Dan. So if this is from 2 years ago. There was a class action lawsuit filed, and some of you might have heard this in the news, filed by a Chicago man against Buffalo Wild Wings, the popular fast food chain, alleging that their boneless chicken wings constitute, quote, false and deceptive marketing because they are not actually a deboned chicken wing. His complaint went on to say, and this is Amen Halim, I think is how you say his name. He alleged that Buffalo Wild Wings knowingly misleads its customers by marketing their boneless wings as wings rather than as glorified chicken nuggets, and says that had he known the products were not actually chicken wings, he either might not have purchased them or would have paid less, which I highly doubt would be approved by Buffalo Wild Wings. The suit also includes a photo of a Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant menu where the boneless wing subcategory is found on a larger wings menu that also includes other non-wing options such as cauliflower, traditional wings, and tenders. The best part about this lawsuit was Buffalo Wild Wings' response. They posted on Twitter in response to the lawsuit, "It's true. Our boneless wings are all white meat chicken. Our hamburgers contain no ham. Our buffalo wings are 0% buffalo." The judge dismissed the lawsuit. That was this week in Law and Disorder. We will now bring back up Susan to introduce our speaker in our program.
I was going to start out with something very pithy about Greg, but apparently he can't wait not to be head of the Visitors Bureau because he put on Greg Gansky's name tag. Lying is a terrible thing to waste. Well, I'm very honored to introduce our speakers today. Why do I even need to introduce Greg Edwards? Greg is a legend in his own mind, but he has over 45 years of hospitality experience. He's a kid from Peoria, Illinois, who made good in Des Moines, Iowa. And if you've been to any events in Des Moines, you can thank Greg and his incredible team for everything from wrestling to the senior games to Red Bull Soapbox to square dancing to every convention under the sun. Greg's been there and he's going to be greatly missed. But not to be outdone is the next head of the Visitors Bureau, and that's Trina Flack, and she will be here as well, and she has over 17 years of experience with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and they're going to tell us what's happening or what's not happening, and thank you very much for being here. I think they'll have time for questions maybe.
Hey.
Here he is, Greg Gansky.
As I told Susan earlier, I will be conducting breast implants following this. Wasn't very rotary proper, was it?
Thank you, President Trump.
Gansky was a plastic surgeon, yeah, and I've taken notes from our President Trump, no doubt. I'm going to be very brief, so.
Sure.
But I will say, thank you for that lovely introduction, Ms. Voss. And, a quick story. Besides, you hear about all the big things that we have brought in, and that includes everybody here because, the whole community backs us and what we do, especially Trina and her team, which I'll talk a little bit about later. But besides the NCAAs and the wrestling and all the big stuff that we do, I'll tell you a quick story. Back in 1988, I was working at the downtown Des Moines Marriott. Actually, this was 1985, I think this happened. And the Convention and Visitors Bureau called me, and this is what they did back in those days, the same kind of thing we do now. And they called, and the young lady that was a salesperson at the Convention and Visitors Bureau called and said, "Edwards, I got the right group for you." I said, "Okay, what you got?" She said, "The little people of America." Okay, that sounds great. So she connects me with the planner, who happened to be a young lady that worked at Principal at the time. She has since passed away, but I line up a meeting with her And she comes over to have lunch with me at the Marriott a couple days later. And God bless her, if she could have stood, which she couldn't walk, she was in a wheelchair, but she'd probably only be about 3.5 feet tall or whatever, but had the personality of just energetic young lady. And she said, you know, we want to put together this bid to bid on the Little People of America. And I said, well, tell me more about it. Well, it was a group that was started by Billy Barty, and those of you that are old enough to remember Billy Barty, he was a dwarf who used to be in a lot of movies and stuff like that, and he created this group way back when. Had at the time about 800, 900 members. She said, I've got a group of Iowans that we've already put together to form this committee so we can get this bid together. And sure enough, you know, there's a lot of little people in Iowa, including myself. Which, by the way, I almost made the membership. You had to be under 4'11", so just barely beat the cutoff. Anyway, so we put our committee together. We did everything together. We put our proposal in to bid to the LPA organization, and they invite us. Yes, Des Moines is a finalist against Kansas City to bid on the 1988 convention, which of course the theme was, which they came up with that, the tall corn state in '88. Wasn't that clever, huh? So we go to, they all fly out to Dearborn, Michigan is where the convention was that year, and I flew in a couple days later. Our bid was gonna be presented on Sunday. I flew in late Saturday afternoon. So I fly in, and my little friend Denise said, now when you get there, we're gonna be in the ballroom. It's our big banquet night. We'll probably be dancing. And I said, okay, great. So I get there, and I check into my room and drop my stuff off. I run down to the ballroom, and I throw open the ballroom doors, and I just stood there and, oh my God, I've died and went to heaven. And here's all my little friends, and they spot me way down, they're on the dance floor, and they're waving, Greg, Greg, Greg. So I run out there, and I am dancing with them, and I'm like towered over them. Like Will Chamberlain or something, you know. But that's one of my biggest success stories, right? Obviously, a lot of successes here. You know, as Susan mentioned, I got here in 2000, really kind of reorganized the whole Convention and Visitors Bureau, you know, put plans in place. Didn't have a lot of structure back in those days. Really put some structure in place, and, you know, the employee manuals and all the basic stuff that you gotta do. And really concentrated, though, on foremost sales. That's what we do. We're sales organization and marketing organization. And that's exactly what we do. We spread the word. What a great place Des Moines is to hold a convention, to hold a meeting, to bring a bus tour, to come here for leisure travel. And you look at what's happened, you know, and it's not just us, again, it's community, because you look at all the infrastructure that has come along with that, you know, whether it be shopping malls to sports complexes to convention centers and biking, walking trails, all the great amenities that we have in this metro area are just phenomenal. Kind of side note, yesterday I met with a young gentleman from Botswana. You know where Botswana is? It's just right above South Africa, in the lower part of Africa. This gentleman's here at Drake University. Drake every year hosts a group called the Mandela Group, and they fly in all these people from Botswana, and they meet at Drake. And this young man, you know, told me all about Botswana, and then he said, you know, I wasn't that excited about coming to Des Moines. And then I learned that the S's are silent. He did learn that part. But then, you know, I started looking at your videos and all your stuff on your website, and I kind of got excited, and I thought, man, this is really a good cultural city. There's lots of things to do. And he was blown away, like anybody would be that actually does come and visit here. So got a good testimony on that. But anyway, I'll quit rambling and get on with the show. Yeah.
Is it on?
Instructions?
Is it on?
Can you read that?
Here.
I read that. I read it like 5 times. I was always in the slow class.
Greg, I'll do it. Just tell me.
Well, they're cute.
So, you know our mission. I kind of just said that. Next. Here's our board this year. Our board, we are very grateful. We have, I think, 26 board members. Every city that we represent has a seat on our board. A lot of them are mayors and/or they're all either mayors or city council people. You can see our newly elected chair is Greg Hudson, who's a city councilman in West Des Moines. Brian Mulcahy was our past chair for the last couple of years. You know Brian from the Des Moines Airport. Chris Conley becomes our vice chair. Chris, the GM of the Iowa Event Center. And then we've got Connie Bozen, the mayor of Des Moines, and Brandon Danner, who's the general manager of the Marriott downtown, is our executive. So just a quick recap of that. Most of our funding, again, I think a lot of you are aware of that, comes through hotel motel tax, about 89% of it. And obviously a visitor comes to Des Moines, they spend the night in a hotel. When they check out, they pay an additional 7% hotel motel tax, of which we used to get 2/7 of that. And then the city managers came together and thought that we must just be so rich. They decided to take some away from us, which I think is total bullshit, excuse my French. But I've been very verbal about that. It took our budget, it took about $800,000 from our budget for this next fiscal year. They needed it for infrastructure, and I get it. I mean, cities are there to have services and provide for the citizens that live there and things like that, but I really thought there were other ways to save money than to cut one of the economic engines of this whole community by doing so. So that's my 2 cents on that. Sorry, Carl.
I'll pass along the bullshit.
I've already used that phrase with Mr. Sanders. He has not spoken to me since, but then again, who gives a shit? I'm leaving. That is not the attitude I'm going to take. I will continue to stay involved and do whatever I can to help this community continue to grow. I'm going to stay on a couple boards, but you're getting a real winner, and I'm really pleased that Trina's going to take over as CEO. Our board did do a national search. I talked to my executive board back in December, and I said, I probably want to retire, or I will want to retire by the end of this fiscal year, which is actually June 30, but I'm staying on through the senior games, which comes in actually next week. 12,500 athletes coming to town. So anyway, they did a national search, narrowed it down to 3 top candidates. Well, first 8, and they narrowed it down to 3, which they brought in for interviews. Obviously, Trina was one of those, and Trina was always part of my succession plan when I put it together, but they thought we probably should do our due diligence and do a national search anyway. So we did, and she came out the winner, and I'll turn it over to Trina Fleck.
Guys, who wouldn't want to step into these shoes, right? I am the luckiest girl in Des Moines. Actually, no, I'm one of the saddest girls in Des Moines because you guys know firsthand that we're retiring a legend as part of that. And when you look at that 25 years of what Greg has brought to this community and everything that he's done to set each of us up for success, it really is big shoes to fill. And I also have to fill those shoes with $800,000 less than before. So anyway, I'll keep rolling. And I guess a little bit about me. Greg's right. I've been at Catch Des Moines for 17 years. I currently serve as Vice President of Sales. So my current role at Catch is to bring in meetings and events and take really good care of the people that are coming here. So I lead that team of conventions and sports and event experience. So have been lockstep with Greg for a lot of years now, having him support all these wild ideas and crazy things that come forward. And his ability to find a way to yes and figure out how to make it happen really speaks to who he is as a leader and what we are as a community. So just a lot of experience at Catch, and prior to that I was with the AIM CVB, so have over 20 years, and honestly started my career with Heart of America, which is, many of you know Mike Whalen and the hotels and restaurants and everything that he has in this community too. So this is really all I've ever known, and while I didn't dream to be a CEO, I say that for all the right reasons, right? That it's like this is the right path forward, and taking Greg's vision and leadership and growing that for what's to come for the community. We have a lot of good things on the horizon, and if anybody has you meet at Hy-Vee for coffee, or you have another breakfast club, or a group of guys that meet for lunch, like, will you please reach out and include Greg, because I am certain that he will be in the office on that Monday morning following his retirement with his cup of coffee harassing the staff. So we welcome him. We're not going to clean out his coffee cups out of the cupboard, but if somebody could help balance us with his time, we would really greatly appreciate that. So a little bit about what we're accomplishing and how we're doing it. These numbers are a year old now because we just finished our fiscal year June 30th, but we look at events that we hosted. So 23-24 was 393. That number I think was like 415 for this past year. So those are events that we brought in, and we classify events as definites and assists, and that would be like things that our sales team had a hand in bringing to the community would be definites, and assists would be those that we support but we don't take credit for. So like the Iowa State Fair, I think Jeremy Persons would be really upset if I was like, we are responsible for the Iowa State Fair. That's not true, but we do support it and support the visitors that go with. So of that 393, 261 of those for 23-24 were because of our direct sales efforts. And then we booked an additional 300. So for 24-25, that number is like 315. So working to increase those. Are you driving this?
Yeah, I'll drive it.
Oh, thank you. And how we do that, it's because of the support of this community. So Greg mentioned that we represent 14 communities. Each one of those communities comes together and has facilities and hotels and venues across all markets. So whether that's the newest sport complex or the Iowa Event Center or Prairie Meadows, whatever that is, our team's job is to fill those venues and hotel rooms in each of those communities. This is a super easy slide to read. So a snapshot of what we're hosting in 2025. Greg just mentioned National Senior Games, so that is one of the largest events. And honestly, multiple years in the making. Greg was in Pittsburgh a year ago, talking about this and getting our contract signed and whatever. It's an event that's only held every couple of years, but we came off a really strong June too, and National Speech and Debate had over 10,000 people here. We had National Junior High Rodeo. As we look ahead, obviously Senior Games and NASCAR is on the back end of that, the first week of August. The Iowa State Fair is obviously in August, and then we end the month hosting the Central State Shrine Association, which is a whole bunch of Shriners. So another thing that we're looking at incorporating Greg into is becoming a Shriner, because I think he's like that perfect guy with the hat and the car. So they do a lot of good, and they also spend a lot of money and use a lot of hotel rooms, and so that's just kind of a sampling of what's coming through the fall. Also, the fall brings heavy state association time frame, so our state associations really provide that boost. We are the capital city and the largest city in the state, and so we do get the benefit of that. Iowa League of Cities would be one that rotates, that's going to be hosted here this fall too. So how we bring events, we get out there and pound the pavement at a national level. So we attend industry trade shows across all markets, so that would be religious, third party, corporate, sports, medical. So any of those, we have a sales team member at, and are just having those conversations with meeting planners. We technically have an office in Washington D.C. At the Willard, and I say that with just so much pride, but it's actually a P.O. box at the Willard. That's what our budget can afford, but it allows us to be part of a group of organizations. So any Convention and Visitors Bureau that has an office in Washington, D.C. gets to be part of a group called CVB Reps, and there's a couple of events and major lists of DC meeting planners, but that's really the home base of professional associations and government associations. So we put a lot of effort there, make several trips throughout the year to host events or meet with meeting planners. Part of those co-op events would be getting 5 of our peer cities together and hosting a lunch. So like Hay Adams would be one of those. Hay Adams is this beautiful hotel that overlooks the White House. We host a lunch there, and we have to do it with 6 other CVBs because, again, that's what our budget can afford. But it also allows us to bring a group of meeting planners together that wouldn't necessarily come just for Des Moines. But if you're coming to hear about Des Moines and Providence and Omaha and Little Rock, Arkansas, and all these other cities, like now it's enticing too. We have memberships in all the national organizations, and we do sales calls to key markets too. Locally, we host about 75 site visits. So if a meeting planner or somebody from an organization says they're willing to consider Des Moines, we have a budget for that. We fly them in, we show them, spend a day or two showing them the venues in the city, or what else they can do while they're here, how clean and safe it is, that we are an actual city within, not a cornfield. All those very important things to a decision maker. And then as we look locally, we have our sports advisory committee. So on the sports side, we bring all the local sports leaders, so the general managers, park and rec directors, the minor league teams, athletic directors. We put them around a table once a quarter and just allow them to have conversation. What's the next big idea? What do we need from a development side? So really not only focusing on events, but development and collaboration, and where are we falling short, and what are other cities doing well too. So we have a customer advisory board, so similar to the sports side, but on a national level, we bring in 15 meeting planners a couple times a year, and they are truly our group of advisors. It's people that are going to book Des Moines or have booked Des Moines or may never book Des Moines, and it's across market segments, and we spend 2 days having all the hard conversations, like what are we not doing well? What's the contract language keeping you up at night? What are your favorite venues? And we take all that advice and use it to better our communities and go to the stakeholders that really can make those decisions. And then Catch Champions, these are a group of locals. These are you guys. This is getting in front of our local community, because we know that a really solid amount of business that we book is because of somebody local that sits on a board or on a committee and raises their hand to say, hey, why does this meeting go there? Why not Des Moines? Can we host it in Greater Des Moines next? So the Shriners is a good example of that, right? The local chapter, the local shrine said, we want to host this, and so that makes a significant impact to our community. So if you have anything, here's my sales pitch to you. Reach out. We'll do all the work. All I need is a name, and if you want to be super involved, we'd love to have you super involved as well. But all it takes is a name. I touch on marketing. We spend about $1.5 million on marketing out of our just shy of $7 million budget, and we do it across all platforms. So if you're watching local TV, we're gonna meet you at local TV. If you've cut the cord and you're watching YouTube, we'll find you there too. If you're only on social media, we're meeting you there. So that we work with an ad agency locally, Flynn Wright, to do all sorts of advertising across all mediums and targeted to families that are coming in for a weekend or a girls trip or just the individual traveler. And that's not only to get them here, but once they're here, we've got a way to also continue to serve you ads to say stay an extra day, do this while you're here. So spend a lot of marketing on the leisure side too, and on the convention side. Another really super easy slide to read. The blue line, the blue line is where that leisure travel was pre-COVID, right? So that what we had for those individual leisure travelers, that the pink line is where that leisure travel is today. So there's a pretty solid increase to that, and we share that stat because, for one, it shows that our advertising is working clearly, but also the corporate travel side isn't back yet, or it maybe never will be back for Des Moines. We're missing that mid insurance and financial market doesn't travel the same. If any of you travel for work, you know that, maybe what used to be a week long is one night, or maybe that's a Zoom call now and you're not taking that trip. And so we're really seeing that across the metro. So we can definitely see when there's an event in town, and our weekend is still higher than our midweek, which is a little bit backwards from where we were before. So having that advertising, showing that boost of leisure travel, it continues to be extremely important as we try and fill that gap post-COVID. Just the fun stat of what we invest back into the community. So as Greg was saying, we're an economic engine for this community, and we're super proud of that. And we work really hard to make it that way. So for every dollar that's invested through hotel motel tax, we're able to return 22 of that back into the community. And with that, we have a video which will be how we end, and then I'll let Greg kind of finish it off.
Our name is Catch Des Moines, and we sell serious fun. But dig a little deeper and you'll find something greater. As the Greater Des Moines Convention and Visitors Bureau, we bring visitors to the region through events and leisure travel marketing, and our impact knows no bounds. Ever wonder how Des Moines lands such events as NCAA March Madness and National Speech and Debate? That's thanks to our year-round efforts connecting national meeting planners and selling them on what we all know. Des Moines is the real deal. And all those videos, lists, and headlines that paint Des Moines as the cool place to be, yeah, that's us too. Whether it's through economic impact, job creation, or enhancing the reputation of the region, visitors and events leave a lasting impression.
Most major cities in the country have a CVB. And so if we want to compete for these big events, we have to have a CVB out there telling our story and telling everybody about all the great things that our region has to offer. I can tell you from experience that people select venues and destinations based on trusting who they're going to work with and having that credibility. Catch Des Moines does an amazing job of building that trust on behalf of Greater Des Moines. And that is key to the success of our region.
Catch Des Moines is such an important partner at the Iowa Event Center and what we do and the business we do. There's so many events, from sporting events to conventions and conferences. Catch Des Moines has a hand in just about everything. People focus on NCAA basketball and some of the bigger sporting events, but there's so many smaller regional and local meetings that take place in the event center. People are staying overnight in hotels, they're going to the bars and restaurants. It's a huge economic piece to the region.
Catch Des Moines brings in large groups throughout the year, that's great, but it's really the 100 to 500 person groups every week throughout the year that sustains air service. So it's not just all locals that are leaving the airport and coming back. We need people continually coming into Des Moines. When the visitors all come to town, that helps support all these businesses that create that vibrant social scene.
Catch Des Moines helps small businesses like mine by just getting the word out. With the help of their social media, their marketing programs, Catch Des Moines makes sure that everyone knows that we exist. And telling my story about why this bakery matters, not just to me, but also to the community. Catch Des Moines is our biggest cheerleader to make sure we don't remain a best kept secret.
And while we like to shout about our local businesses, our sports scene has been making plenty of noise too.
In 2022, the youth sports industry was estimated at almost $40 billion. They expect that number to grow to almost $60 billion by 2030. Our region is growing tremendously, and it's really turned into a sports mecca. It's because of Catch and their connections that we're able to attract these tournaments and bring tourism into West Des Moines and the surrounding communities.
And it's not just sports where we provide an assist. Catch sits at the head of the table when it comes to bringing in conventions and meetings too.
So about 10 years ago, the superintendent of Milwaukee Schools and I had a vision for bringing the largest academic competition in the world to Des Moines. And the first thing I did was call Catch Des Moines because I knew that our Visitors Bureau knew exactly what it would take to bring a high school event like ours to the city. Many visitor bureaus play the role of being the bridge between the city and the organization and the event. What Catch understands is that you have to be more than the bridge. You have to be the vehicle and the fuel to help that organization maximize its mission while they're in the city. There's a ton of economic benefit that happens when thousands of people over a long period of time come to the city. They also have an opportunity to see all kinds of parts of the city. Visiting the amusement park at Adventureland, going to watch Hamilton at the Civic Center, eating at our incredible restaurants. Catch Des Moines understands that when you bring 7,000 future leaders to Des Moines, Iowa, that will have a reciprocal benefit in the future because those individuals will fall in love with this city. They will come back and be a part of this city and this culture, and someday they might call themselves Iowans.
If you build a place where people want to visit, you'll build a place where people want to live. If you build a place where people want to live, you'll build a place where people want to work. If you build a place where people want to work, you'll build a place where business needs to be. If you build a place where business has to be, you'll build a place where people have to visit. Our impact is greater.
Because in Des Moines,
Only the S's
Are silent.
All right, we have 9 more minutes, so let's see if I can drop a couple more BS's to you. And I apologize for my language, but I'm old and I'm feeble. Yes, sir.
Yeah, obviously we've heard a lot about the airport growing and all of that coming in. How much of an impact do you think that'll have on what you do with the expanded airport and all that? Like,
Huge, huge impact.
Are there numbers?
Everybody hear that? Want to know what the new airport expansion will do for us, and it'll be great. You know, when I got here in 2000, I think we had 14 direct flights to direct cities. Now we have 30 direct flights to cities. This is going to give us even more. I think the airport authority, and led by Brian Mulcahy, very optimistic on getting some new service, some new cities, and all that. So it's going to be a huge, huge impact to us.
Okay, great.
Sue?
What's the oddest convention or the weirdest convention, in your opinion, you've ever brought to Des Moines? That you can talk about without using blue language?
Well, Little People of America was fun. You know, as I look back, a lot of interesting things, a lot of different things, mechanics that had to go into things. Like we hosted the American Association of the Blind back in probably 2003 or 2004, and we had to figure out, because a lot of the blind have blind seeing dogs, and we had to figure out, well, they're all in the Skywalk hotels. The city would be mad at us if they shit in the sidewalks. So, damn it, they're if they pooped in the skywalks. So we had to make arrangements for them to like go down, to have street level areas where the dogs could go down and do their business and stuff like that. Gosh, what else? I mean, there's all kinds of strange groups that and Square Dancers was one of them. I'll tell you, Square Dancers was one of the toughest groups we've ever booked. Councilman Coleman went with me. I think Chris was the chairman of our board that year. And we went to Spokane, Washington to do our bid. And their board presentation, number one, their board was made up by a man and wife. And the man had to be married to the wife. And they were the board. And these people, they recorded our whole proposal, and they would ask us questions about, you know, what about their golf tournament, and what about this, and what about their comp rooms at hotels, and just every little detail. And they recorded us, and this is like 4 or 5 years before the event even comes here. But they record you, because then once they come here, and we say, oh no, we're not gonna do that for you, they go, man, well, Edward said back in 2008 that yes, you would do that, you know. But it was just a really, are there any square dancers?
And how many square dancers?
Gosh, I don't remember.
It was like it's like huge. I mean, it was like 6,000.
Yeah, it was huge.
Governor Branstad is a caller, like.
Yeah, got the Governor Branstad at the time. Yeah, he used to be a square dancer caller. But I'll tell you what, it may have been 5,000 or 6,000 then, but now it's about 50 or 60 now. No, I'm kidding. The numbers have shrunk dramatically. That may be the group I joined. I haven't informed my wife that,
Carl? What percent of the convention business is sports related?
sports is now about 40–45% of our bookings. Again, which has drastically changed. We, again, going back when I got here in 2000, we had just hired our first sports salesperson because all of a sudden people are like, gosh, maybe this is another business of people coming in and staying in hotels and what have you. And now we have, 3 going on 4 different people in our sports department. They do everything from booking it to servicing it while it's here. Our team this past couple weeks have been totally involved with senior games. All their stuff got shipped here and we're storing it for them, and we gotta get it back out of the warehouses and take it to the Recplex or Ankeny or wherever their venues are for that event. So it's a huge business. John?
Yeah, Greg, this is a statistic I think is very significant. That's why I asked about it. But how do you amass the information as to the income that's generated for Des Moines area merchants from bookings for a year?
Sure. We thankfully we have an events impact calculator, which was designed by our international association, Destinations International, with other input from other entities and what have you, which was really a great thing to have because we never really had. I mean, I'll be totally honest with you. Back in the day when I was young here, the register would call and say, "Hey, you've got the Iowa Bar Association convention. What's the impact on that?" And I used some kind of calculation. I knew how many hotel rooms they take, and I knew the hotel rate was $90 or whatever it was. So I'd multiply that, and then I'd add some kind of a multiplier on that, and I'd come up with $2 million. But nobody, they never asked me how to get that. Thank you, Lord. But now, yeah, Trina really was the head of that search too. So she can input from a group, how many people are coming, what are your sponsorship dollars, what are your hotel usage, what are your food and beverage budget, all that kind of stuff, input it, and it's pretty factual. It'll even break down to show you, what they spent on power and lights and all that kind of stuff too. So it's pretty accurate.
That's a very significant statistic, and I think it's worth the effort you make to compile that information.
Thank you.
Last question, Greg.
Don?
When we get the WNBA team?
The WNBA is coming next year. It'll be Greg's girls. Oh, that was just right off the cuff. Kitty is going to be the head coach. That's it. Hey, thank you all very much.
Appreciate all the humor, Greg. But on a serious note, thank you for being a member of our club for the last over 20 years, I think. And thanks for all the work you've done in making this city and this metro a great place to be and to visit. And Trina, we look forward to your leadership and keeping up with the great things at Catch Des Moines. And I'm sure you'll be back in the future to tell us all about what you're up to. So thank you. All right. Before we get out of here, we have a reminder on the upcoming meetings. Remember, you and any guests you wish to bring need to RSVP by Wednesday at 9 a.m. to Kitty. Think about someone you can bring to the club who may be interested in one of these speakers. And again, membership is a continued focus of mine this year after Kevin's year last year. And one of the best ways to grow our club is to expose guests to to this room here today and to the speakers that we bring in. So July 24th, we have Judd O'Connor, Executive Vice President of the Seed Unit at Corteva. July 31st, Jeff Chelsevig from the Des Moines Performing Arts, his final curtain call, as he calls it, as he's retiring. And then on August 7th, we have the Rotary District 6000 Governor for this year, Norland Hinkie. I've talked to Norland a number of times. He's a great guy and a good Rotarian, and you'll like his presentation. And then just keep in mind the date of September 4th. This is a tease. I can't announce it yet, but we have a potentially pretty big program for that day. So if you're going to go out of town for Labor Day, come back by the 4th so you can join us that day. A reminder, August 12th at Freedom Blend Coffee, our morning fuel, Dave Busick will be speaking. So thank you for being with us today. Thanks for being part of the Rotary Club of Des Moines, and thank you to all our guests for joining us. As I say every week, until next time, stay true to the good. We are adjourned.